Softness, and today I'm going to be chatting with you about a concept called Radical Softness. Radical Softness is kind of a recent movement type thing that's connected to feminism, and it's informed a lot of how I feel about feminism, how I feel about my own femininity, and sort of how I go about feminism. So I thought I'd put together a little video talking to you guys about what it is, since it is something that's so important to me. So when you define radical softness, there's really two different ways to look at it. You can look at it on the small scale and the large scale. On a small scale, on a personal scale for an individual person, it means the reclamation of soft emotions, and I'll get more into that in a little bit. On the large scale, as a movement, radical softness is the politicization, making political emotionality and directly contrasting the toxic masculinity of patriarchal culture and white supremacy. So those are some big words. Let's break down what this means. So emotionality, the expression of intense emotions, has been mostly linked to femininity. And as we know, femininity is, linked to womanhood and all of that. There's a lot of codes defining what womanhood can and can't be and what feminism can and can't be, and this is all... People are being very loud in my kitchen. This is all directly linked to how we define gender roles and all of that. And femininity, especially in Western culture, has been deemed weaker than masculinity. Feminine genders are weaker genders. The female sex is the weaker sex, and therefore we should try to attain a more idealized masculinity in our day-to-day lives, which has a lot of connotations that I don't really want to get into in this video. I just kind of want to talk primarily about radical softness, so maybe we'll have a chat about that in the future, but I don't know. But it's because of that culture that women are expected to fight back against their natural need to be overly emotional, and that men should naturally not feel any intense emotions unless it's like anger or something manly. But men aren't expected to ever really experience things like depression or intense sadness or grief or anything like that. They're kind of just expected to bounce back and be manly. So radical softness actually benefits men quite a bit. That reclamation of emotion can obviously lead to a much healthier sense of self in men. If men are allowed to feel grief and soft emotions and depression and all of that, then men are allowed to have a healthier relationship with themselves, and that leads to, incidentally, less violence against women. So these emotions are considered unnatural in men in Western culture, even though they're natural and perfectly valid for everybody. They're considered almost borderline dangerous in women. When you consider why the United States has never had a female president, the first thing that somebody will say in response to that is, oh, women are too emotional. They'll let their emotions get in the way of things. You know how they are. And that's a lot to sort of unpack. So radical softness seeks to really de-villainize emotionality in both men and women by reclaiming these emotions and wearing them as a badge of honor and destigmatizing it and showing that it's okay and valid to feel certain ways about certain things. Then we can promote a healthier concept of mental health. Toxic masculinity has had a very profound impact on mental health in Western culture. In fact, because of the expectations of masculinity and emotionlessness, men are less likely to seek help for mental health issues and more likely to succeed in committing suicide. There's obviously a problem. Like, the relationship that people have with mental health and with their own healthy emotions is... There's a lot of room for improvement in Western society, and in other societies probably as well. Obviously, I live in America, so I primarily know about American culture, but I know that these problems exist elsewhere to varying degrees. So, I mean, embracing emotion and embracing and having a healthy relationship with your emotions and expressing them as something that is valid is something that can be beneficial for anybody. It's basically saying that, you know, you don't have to be hard on yourself for feeling normal human things. You can be soft with yourself, you can be gentle with yourself, you can take care of yourself properly and healthily, and you can feel absolutely valid in whatever emotions you experience. Radical softness also seems to flourish in abuse recovery communities, and I think that that's also an important thing to note, is that a lot of times trauma survivors don't really know how to unpack a lot of the things that they're feeling in a healthy way, and don't really understand how to be gentle with themselves, because a lot of times when you experience trauma, you, like, where you are and where you want to be often aren't the same location at all. And like, when you go through it, it's like, why am I not better yet? Why can't I just move on from this? You know, yeah, this was a thing that happened to me, but I don't want it to define me, type of thing. At least that's my own personal experience. So it's oftentimes really important to remember that, you know, sometimes it takes time to recover from things, and sometimes it takes time to recover from things like trauma, abuse, addiction, anything like that. It takes time to really process those emotions, and whatever you're feeling at any point in that is totally valid, and there needs to be more spaces where people can openly discuss things like that. And Radical Softness really seeks to help these communities thrive, and really helps to, like, the entire point is just to encourage people to be open with how they feel, to be open with their emotional experience, and to promote a different way of going about emotionality, other than the current example of just bury it deep down and pretend it didn't happen. Are there any questions that you guys have about radical softness? I know it's kind of an abstract concept, it's kind of loosely defined, that's kind of purposeful, but please, if you have any questions, or if you feel like I was too vague about something, leave it in the comments section. I will try my best to get back to everybody and have a good, intelligent response to everything. But yeah, that's Radical Softness. I hope everybody has a good day. I hope everybody thinks about their own healing journeys and thinks about maybe some healing that they might need to do. Obviously, some healing will require a therapist, but, you know, baby steps. And I will see you all next time. Bye!